let's go to... Which button did I set this up for? There we go. That button. So this is the title article of the stream tonight. These are America's 10 worst states to live in. So this is CNBC's annual ranking of state business climates.
I'm just going to go ahead and guess Texas, Georgia, and Florida all rank.
I don't know about Georgia, but the other two, yes. Which, that would be weird if Georgia... So now, to be fair, this is not like a ranking of just straight up quality of life. This is a ranking of like how appealing is the state for businesses that are considering where to locate themselves. And as part of that, it's like, does the state have the kind of things that my workers are going to be needing, like childcare? Is the state appealing to workers? Like, can I just like cast a wide net to hire as many people as possible? Like, I want the most talented people, so I don't care if they're LGBTQ or black or indigenous or whatever. I just want to hire the best people. So is the state welcoming to all these people, so I'm not going to have to like go hunting for the best, they will come to me sort of thing. So like it kind of ticks off the this is a good state to live in box, but it's like through the lens of businesses wanting to choose that state to locate in. So it's not necessarily an accurate ranking, but it's, you know, Republicans are always talking about how they're pro-business anyway, so like this is the one that they should be looking at to begin with. So it says this year, life, health, and inclusion is one of the study's 10 categories of competitiveness, and this year, with the nationwide worker shortage so severe, the category is taking on increased importance in their methodology. So like, because there's a worker shortage, this is more important because companies are more desperate to hire people, so they're not going to be as discriminatory as they might have been in the past.
Yeah.
Not really the lens you want to do inclusiveness from, but better than nothing. Anyway, so here we go. Casting the widest possible net for workers means not turning anyone away, so we consider inclusiveness in state laws by measuring protections against discrimination as well as voting rights. And so now, this is something that you'll see from Florida and Texas as they talk about how many people are moving there. So yeah, they must still be a good place to live. So this person says, you still see people going to Florida and Texas, but you begin to see deterioration over time. Site selectors will tell you these issues matter when it comes time for businesses making tough decisions. So it's on a bit of a lag. So like, yeah, people are still going there now, but like as time goes on and businesses are deciding whether or not to open in Florida and Texas or whatever, they will be deciding more against it, and so that will drag off. But also, like Florida in particular, a lot of people that are moving to Florida, it's the snowbirds. It's not people that are looking for work. It's people that are looking for a warm spot to retire. So like,
also a lot of businesses that are opening up in any state, they're working off of contracts that have been written up and processed, and a lot of times are a couple years in the making. It's very hard to just go, all right, we're going to stop everything we're doing right now just because DeSantis is doing a dumb fuck this particular week. Like, once you've got the construction permits and the zoning done, it's kind of hard to do that in a lot of scenarios.
Luigi Potter says Georgia is the best state at avoiding lists. We hit number 11 or 6 on lists all the time. That's a good point. That's a good point. Anyway, number 10 on the list is Florida. So this is
stop woke.
Yeah, so this is going from like this is the bottom 10, but like number 10 is not like the last one. It's so this is the best of the worst. Florida is the best state to live in of the 10 worst. So yeah, there's not really much I want to go into in here, but like they lead the nation just about every measure of migration, but rated strictly on life, health, and inclusion, Florida can be a dreary place. So its strengths are air quality, childcare, and worker protections. Really in Florida? That's one of the states where you can get $2.17 an hour if you work a tipped position.
I mean, that's Rhino. That's the United States.
No, there are states where the minimum wage, even for tipped workers, is higher, is like 4, 5, 6. Like it's still pathetic, but it's not $2.15 or whatever it is. Weaknesses are inclusiveness and reproductive rights.
We have a federal tipped wage and almost every state goes by the federal tipped wage.
I'm sure I've looked that up before. I'm sure I've looked that up before, and I'm pretty sure there's only like it's mostly the Republican states that go with the federal one, and that's the $2.15 or $2.17 an hour. I forget what it is. But when
it disappears into your taxes a clock.
Yeah. Sure. Anyway, their weaknesses are inclusiveness and reproductive rights, because, you know, it's Florida. It's Ron DeSantis. He's single-handedly, well, not single-handedly. Florida's been a bit of a shit show for ages.
It's weird that trying to get my cat to go away, and okay. She's being fun. It's weird. I know you made the comment about worker protections, but considering it's Florida, Florida's the state that has Disney that doesn't have a union, whereas the Disney union does exist in California. It's also, as far as I remember.
I feel like having a union is more protected than not. I mean, I have had my fair share of bad experiences with unions, but like historically speaking, unions are what gave workers the rights to have a weekend.
That's why I'm saying lunch breaks. It's weird that worker protections is one of the strengths when even like the Disney Corporation doesn't get a union in Florida. Okay. I thought you were saying
I thought you were saying it makes sense that worker protections are a thing because they're the ones that didn't decide to unionize. Okay, that makes more sense. But yeah, number 9 is Arkansas, which for the longest time as a Canadian, I thought that there were 2 states. One was called Arkansas, the other was called Arkansas. Because like, Kansas. Why would you pronounce the S at the end as a W? It's not Arkansas, it's Arkansas. What the fuck?
Why is this one Arkansas and this one Arkansas? That's like the skit where it's like, hey, how do you spell this this one? This is tomb, right? Okay, how do you spell this one? Coom? No, it's comb.
That sounds like a Ryan George thing. Is it Ryan George?
It is.
Okay. I'm glad I guessed that one. I'm not sure if I've seen that, but that sounds like the kind of thing he would do. And so a few states have suffered as badly from the scourge of illegal drugs as Arkansas, which has one of the highest violent crime rates in the country, according to the FBI statistics.
Jesus.
Bit of a spoiler here. I'm just gonna lay it out now. I was considering saving it to the end so we could go through and see it, but every single one of the states in the bottom 10 is Republican run.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, it didn't surprise me either, but considering that these guys are all about like economic measures and being good for businesses and trying to like say a small government gets out of the business's way so it's better for the economy and everything, it's like, yeah, but y'all are like consistently the worst places to live and do business.
Yeah.
And what else I noticed on this, that a lot of these states in the strengths that they show is like the only one is air quality, because it's all rural. You live out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, the air quality is only big because we don't have the factories. It's like I went to Philadelphia. The air quality was worse in Philly than it was even in like the heart of Atlanta, but it's Georgia.
My chat is saying the comb tomb bit is a Gallagher bit, not Ryan George.
Is it Gallagher? I think my brain crossed G's there.
Okay, sure, whatever. So healthcare in, what are we, Arkansas? 42 dentists for every 100,000 residents. That seems low. They got some busy dentists. So strengths
you don't need teeth.
Strengths are
childcare
and air quality. Weaknesses are crime, inclusiveness, reproductive rights, healthcare. Oh yeah, and also this is the one that has
living there just
Governor
sucks.
Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Like that scared every time I read that phrase. I'm just like I'm actually surprised that she stayed out of the news cycle as much as she has. Because the fact that she's a governor is just wild.
She was in the news cycle a shit ton during Trump's presidency, but she doesn't seem to be in it as much anymore.
It was her job to be in the news cycle in Trump's presidency. What is that? Or was she Secretary of State or something? I don't know. Whatever.
I don't remember.
But, yeah, but like, again, she was one of these people that was like, oh, tough on crime Republican. Well, you know what? You got a problem with crime in your state. So either tough on crime doesn't work or you are ineffective.
It's almost like most reported crimes are actually a result of poverty, and if you address the poverty, the crimes go down.
So you're saying if you deal with urban problems and rural poverty,
then you might have lower crime rates? Yeah, it's weird. People feel less of a need to steal when they have all of their basic needs met. Strange.
Sarah
concept.
Huckabee was the press secretary for a while. That's why it was in my head that it was her job to be in the news cycles. It was like, yeah, she was literally the press secretary. Not for long, but for a bit. I mean, that statement pretty much applies to anyone in Trump's, I want to say cabinet, but it extended past the cabinet as well. Like
you had the job
administration. In Trump's administration, you had the job for a bit, and then you either got fired because you said or did something that he didn't like, or you had to leave because you have principles. Although, like, why would you work for that guy in the first place if you had principles? I don't know. Like, some people have weird lines that they draw.
It's like that one. I forget if it was a series or a book, one of the two, that began with the statement basically describing a cult where like everybody who's around you is there for only a little bit of time, and it's like they're rotating. And I'm not describing a cult leader right now, I'm describing the president of the United States.
Yeah,
I forget what it was.
I don't know.
Oh, it was Innuendo Studios. Okay,
sure, I'm not familiar with it. So number 8 is Tennessee. So they have all these weird extreme anti-LGBTQ laws. So like, one law was struck down by a federal judge in 2021 that would have required businesses to post warning signs on their bathrooms if transgender people were allowed there. Like,
can you imagine having because like when you have a little mom and pop business, you don't tend to have a big public restroom. You have like the stall, and that's it. So just imagine having a warning sign like, hey, just so you know, there is a chance that a trans girl's penis might have been somewhere near this stall. Maybe. We don't know. But we got to warn you legally, just in case.
Yeah, the bathroom thing is just stupid. I don't understand why that's even still a thing. Anyway, their strengths are childcare and air quality. Their weaknesses are inclusiveness, crime, and voting rights.
Voting rights?
Yeah, well, it was Louisiana or Tennessee. Sorry, we haven't gotten to Louisiana yet. Yeah. Indiana. I love this picture. I love that they chose this picture for Indiana. Like,
that child has seen better days.
So this is because childcare is one of their weaknesses. So this is their representation of that. But it's like, I just like the idea that Indiana is the petulant toddler who's ripping his mother's glasses off while he's got mess all over his face that he won't let her clean up. And like, yeah, that seems like Indiana. That seems like the Mike Pence state.
People in my chat are going like, hold on, it looks like the baby ate somebody. It's a zombie baby and the mother is next.
Give me your brains. So yeah, they have 10 licensed childcare facilities per 100,000 residents. Which is the second worst figure in the nation.
Low.
It's the second worst figure in the nation, which is behind Louisiana, which we'll see later on this list. Their strength is their crime rate, because apparently there's not a lot of crime there, but their weaknesses are childcare and inclusiveness. Missouri. So they have a law. Their abortion ban is one of the strictest in the nations, which bans all abortions except in the case of medical emergency, which the abortion provider must prove, or they go to jail. So, yeah, that's not great.
So what are you gonna do a few weeks after when the police come knocking for an investigation? I need you to prove it was necessary. My guy, it was my boyfriend with a coat hanger because the doctor wouldn't do shit. I'm alive because of it. Go away.
Well, and that's one of the things about like this is the thing that a lot of Republicans either don't understand or they pretend not to understand for political means. But like whether or not an abortion is medically necessary, it's never 100% this is an emergency needs to happen versus 0% no, she'll be fine. It's always a like 60-40, 70-30, 80-20. I don't know. There's a chance that she'll survive. There's a chance she won't survive. There's a chance the baby will survive. There's a chance the baby won't survive. And these are the chances. And we actually, like, even if we could put a number on it, we don't know how accurate that number is, because it's not like we ran a statistical analysis on every woman who's ever been in this situation, or every trans man who's been in this situation. It's not like we have that data. This is just my personal opinion about how likely the outcome is here. This is my prognosis. Yeah, so basically, any abortion, they perform it. If it goes to court, they get up there and explain why they consider it to be medically necessary. The anti-abortion group who is prosecuting them will bring up a Catholic doctor to say, no, in my professional opinion as a doctor, that was not an emergency. That was not medically necessary. And so
it's like if you aim a gun at somebody, right? Let's say you're 300 feet away, and I have to ask you, is it okay for me to fire this gun at you? And you have to rate how okay you are with it based on if I'm holding a 9mm, a smoothbore musket, or, you know, a nice hunting rifle, or if I'm holding a bazooka. Each one of these has a different % chance of hitting you from 300 feet. But I think most people's answer to which one of these would you rather me shoot you with is none of them.
Yeah.
I don't care which one. I don't care what the cut rate is on how likely it is that the bullet's going to graze my temple. I'd rather it just not be aimed at me at all. If you're in a position where you're thinking, hey, I don't want to have this child, not only do I not want you having that kid, because I don't want parents who don't want their kids. That's a weirdly foreign concept for some Republicans. But at the same time, if you think there is a risk to your health, you don't care what the numbers are. Again, 300 feet away, smoothbore musket. The likelihood's low, but you're not going to be like, yeah, fire away, motherfucker.
Yeah, no. I do not want... But like, I'm sorry, I'm kind of I'm flustered here because this subject makes me angry. It's like, these decisions should be between the pregnant person and their doctor. And like, you don't question, like, it's no one else's business. Literally no one else's business. If their doctor thought it was necessary and they agreed, or like maybe they'll get a second opinion if they're like, if someone who wants to keep the baby and the doctor says, no, you need to terminate this pregnancy, they'll probably get a second opinion. But like, it's none of your business. Anyway,
and yet
their strength is air quality, as with so many of the others. Their weaknesses are voting rights, reproductive rights, and crime. Alabama is tied for 4th with whatever the next one is. So their strength is air quality, weakness, voting rights, worker protections, inclusiveness, and health, because they suck for healthcare. It's one of America's unhealthiest states. 4th highest rate of premature deaths. And it's one of the most difficult states to vote in, with no in-person early voting and restrictions on voting by mail. So, yeah. And they are tied for 4th with South Carolina.
I wonder what specific... Okay, so they're because they both have 86 out of 350.
Yeah.
They both get the tie there.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Sucks to be there in both of them. Oh god, worker protections is a weakness?
Yeah.
Oh no.
In South Carolina?
Oh no.
Yeah, so it finishes in the top 10 for frequent physical and mental distress overall in all the states. And the violent crime rate is also in the top 10. So their strength is air quality, and their weaknesses are...
the air quality's so good.
And the weaknesses are health, worker protections, inclusiveness, crime, voting rights. But hey, you don't need your health care because the air quality's so good, so you won't get sick.
Yeah.
Because that's how that works, right?
That's how Alaska's a red state and they have Denali care? Anyway,
I think
they have air quality too.
Okay. Then we get to Louisiana. They have a grand total of 76 licensed childcare facilities in the whole state, with 4.6 million people.
Strengths, none. None.
It did not have a single metric that put it in the upper half of any of the states. So Louisiana literally has no strengths. There's no good reason to live there.
Jesus. And then weaknesses. So congratulations, there's no benefit to living here. And if you're gonna have kids, not only can you look forward to them being in a lot of danger based on gender, a lot of danger based on economic care, but you aren't even gonna get any fucking help with them at all, because childcare is a weakness for your state. Have fun.
And, well, not just a weakness, but it's the worst state for childcare in the entire United States. And then also bad crime and reproductive rights suck. So, like, yeah, we won't let you get that abortion. You better have that child. No, fuck no, you can't send it to a babysitter.
If you're pre-born, you're good. If you're preschool, you're fucked.
Yeah. And then we get to Oklahoma, where the wind goes sweeping down the plains. Strength, air quality.
Of course.
Weaknesses, reproductive rights, health, and voting rights.
It's so weird to me that voting rights can even be a weakness in any state in the country.
Yeah, aren't you all supposed to be a democracy?
Yeah, we're supposed Republic. Yeah, same. No functional difference between the two in this scenario. And when it comes to voting,
yeah,
when it comes to how we do our voting shit,
it's a representative democracy.
Yeah. It should be easy. The day to go vote for anything, any little election, even just fucking city elections, should be paid time, just guaranteed.
Yep. Excuse me. Getting pretty yawny today. I don't know why. Anyway, worst place in the states to live is Texas.
Of course.
And
everything's bigger in Texas, including the reasons not to live in Texas.
Well, what's great here is like this is almost like a single-handedly Ron DeSantis fucked them up kind of moment, because okay, so it's got the nation's highest percentage of people without health insurance and the second lowest number of primary care physicians per capita. But here's the thing. In the immediate last time they did the study, it was in the top 10 places to live. And top 5. So when they did the study, in the 16 years that they've been doing the study, it has never been lower than the top 5 places to live in the United States. And it went all the way from top 5 consistently to last place, dead last.
Is that can't be just from DeSantis's
it's not
thing.
Just DeSantis, but like DeSantis has been on a rampage. Like Texas has been on a rampage over this past year or two.
I mean, a bot has been doing a bunch of stupid shit. Taking
away people's rights, doing heinous and immoral shit at the border in the name of border security. Like, did you hear about the thing where they're ordering border patrols to like push children back into the no, not people, children. They're ordered to throw children back into the river.
Yeah, no, I've seen. No, and I understand.
Like, I don't care. Like, if you're entering the country illegally, you're still a human being.
No, they
you're
don't
still
see
a
them
fucking
that
human
way.
being.
They don't see them that way. That's the problem.
Makes me mad. Anyway, Texas also has not a single metric in the top 25, so they've gone from consistently top 5 overall to not a single metric in the top half. DeSantis is Florida? Oh, did I say DeSantis? Because I meant Abbott.
You kept saying DeSantis
Abbott.
over and over again.
Greg Abbott.
That's why I was
Abbott.
Wait, it can't be just because the trafficking thing. Because the trafficking thing's the only thing he did that touched Texas that I could think of.
It's Greg Abbott. I know Greg Abbott.
Okay.
Sorry. That was just those two kind of meld in my brain slip. As like, because they're the two governors that
they show up all the time.
Not people, children. So kids aren't people, Rhino? Yeah, no, they're not.
No, they're not. We're atheists. We like abortion. More abortions.
I have 5 kids. That's too many. It's time for a feast.
Pop another one out. Daddy's hungry.
Oh, Suris, you're the worst.
I know. Look, there was a since I used to do just edited content. I mean, most of us used to do just edited content and didn't do live streams. Years ago, Zod mentioned that the very first time he saw me actually doing a live stream, he's like, "You're a little more unhinged on live stream than you are in edited videos." I'm like,
"Yup,
maybe a little."
Me too.
That's just how it is.
Yeah, live streams are what's going to get me canceled eventually.
One day.
So after enough booze, I'll just say something stupid. Anyway,
I just do it sober.
Moving on. So Ohio has issue number 1. So in 2022, reproductive freedom. Okay, so this is just making the point that pro-choice is like overwhelmingly agreed. Like that's the vast majority of Americans.
It's over 65% usually is how it polls.
Yeah, like the vast majority of Americans, doesn't matter, Republican, Democrat, red, blue, who cares? They're in favor of right to access to an abortion. And so that's across state and party lines. But in Ohio, where there is also a strong majority of Ohioans who support an amendment to make abortion access a constitutional right, they require 400,000 signatures to put a constitutional amendment before voters, and this pro-choice amendment got 700,000 signatures.
Mm-hmm.
Now, interestingly, if we go into the past, we get this guy, Frank LaRose, who is the Secretary of State, who he's the one that has to put it on the ballot or like put that in motion or whatever. A little earlier, he was like, oh, you know what? Special elections, they kind of cost the taxpayers money and they have pretty low turnout. It's like only 11.8 and 6.8% of people turned out to vote on the 2020 special election things. So we're just going to, like, they're unnecessary. They're not good for taxpayers. They're not good for election officials. They're not good for civic health of the state. It's time for them to go.
What?
Yeah, so he's like, special elections need to go because it costs money.
The whole point of a special election is when shit didn't go right the first time for your election when you're in your primaries and stuff. Like that's what that's for.
Okay, but he's saying that like special elections need to go because they cost too much money.
I
as
don't
soon as
give a shit that it costs money.
Okay. As soon as shut up, you. Sorry, my partner was like, as I was shushing you, she just turns to me and is like, now you know how it feels. I do have a tendency to talk over her sometimes. I have told her multiple times that she can feel free to just like smack me upside the head and be like, you're doing it again. Because I'm usually not aware. But anyway. Yeah, so LaRose is like spearheaded the campaign to get rid of specifically the August special elections or whatever. But now that there's been enough signatures on a petition to get a constitutional amendment going through, and it needs to be, like, legally, it needs to be brought to the voters, they've proposed a special election in August to amend the process for getting the state constitution amended, which would raise the approval threshold from a simple majority to 60%. So, yeah, so he's against special amendments unless it is something that he thinks will benefit him.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, no, he's a Republican. That's how they work.
My chat, K. Charles Champ just went, hey, this could be a check on my power. Let's just get rid of that.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Every single time he was been asked if this special election that he's proposing was related to an abortion vote, he said no. But then he was found on a videotape saying to some of his supporters, it's 100% about keeping a radical pro-abortion amendment out of our Constitution.
So after 700,000 people have pointed out, hey, this is a thing that we need, And a special election would be how you would determine that in this case, because it's not on the current docket. It is like, nah, this is the one time we don't need it.
No. This is so he wants the special election to make it harder for the amendment to pass. So the special election is to amend the process of amending the state constitution. Does that make sense?
Can I leave this country, please?
Yeah, you're welcome in my house anytime. You just got to clean the basement for me.
How big is your basement?
Well, I'm just going to say that we got a quote from a junk removal place, and it was going to be like $1,000 to clean it out for us, so make of that what you will.
Can I put the trash can? Can I put the trash can or the trash in your can?
Don't do it. Don't do it. Suris is referring to a video that he's seen that I am not showing to any of you of my neighbor yelling and swearing at us for putting our garbage cans on our own property because he didn't like where they were located.
On your property lines.
On our property. Well, because, okay, so his driveway is right up against the side of our house, but we own like a meter of his driveway. That's where the property line is. It's like down, like he like 2/3 of his driveway is his and 1/3 is ours. So like it's, the driveway is split into thirds, and we own a third of it. And so we put our garbage cans back there because we have a back door that opens directly onto their driveway, onto our property section of their driveway. So it's like, you know what? It makes the most sense to have the garbage there by the back door because the kitchen's right there. You just walk out with the garbage instead of having to go through the whole house. And yeah, he was not happy about that. So he was like yelling and swearing at us, and he moved the garbage bins, and so we moved them back, and we have like this shutting bin thing to like kind of hide it and keep it out of sight or whatever. So we put a couple patio stones in it and then locked it shut. But he didn't realize that we had put patio stones in it, so he tried to ram his car into it, and it did not move.
Yeah, because you just added like 300 pounds to it.
Yeah, no, he didn't mention anything about that, but yeah, I don't think he was happy about that. It was like, I'm sorry that you're not happy that your vandalization of our property on our property went poorly, but yeah, so we're having neighbor troubles again. This time it's us that's instigating it, but it's still just our property.
Rhino, just so you know, I have been seeing commentary about this for the last 3 years.
With our neighbors?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is just an ongoing saga that I've not really commented on that much, but I've been watching.
Yeah. He's an asshole. As long as he gets what he wants, he's fine. But as soon as you give him any pushback, he turns into a major asshole.
Feels like how the drunk at the bar is your friend, but only when you're buying his drinks.
Yeah. How do you get permission to build a driveway on your land? Okay, so it's our houses were all built in like 1928 or some shit. So like, and this was a poor neighborhood back when they were built, so probably the people that were building the houses here didn't have cars. So I doubt that the driveway was an original feature, so the property lines were kind of weird. And when it came time to put driveways in, it was like, well, we kind of need space for that or whatever. So I imagine there was some agreement between the two people who owned these two houses, because like mine, like I have a corner lot, so my driveway's around the corner. So I don't know. I don't know how it came about. I'm sure it made sense in the 1920s or whatever.
Just doesn't make sense anymore.
No.
And now it's all falling on.
But I actually, so if you've been following the channel for a while, you might be familiar with the spray paint incident where he went through our backyard spray painting what he thought was the property line, and telling my mother when she caught him spray painting my. So he waited till I was on vacation to do this, because like I say that he's non-confrontational, but like he's non-confrontational in the sense that he won't talk to us about anything first, but if we confront him, he's got no problem yelling and swearing at us. But
he's reactionary.
Yeah, he's reactionary, but he won't, like, even when, like, there was another incident where, like, he fenced off part of our backyard, and we thought that he was trying to annex it for himself, and likely he was trying to annex it for himself, but we actually called the police in that instance, and he told them that it was, I'm sorry, the stream can't hear it, but Suris can hear it. I've got, my WhatsApp is going off repeatedly because the people in the group chat just won't shut up. And yeah, for some reason, when I close WhatsApp, it still gives me the notifications. I'm trying to make it go away. Oh, and because Windows notification system is so bad, I can't even like see my little tray icons because the notification pops over it.
Wait, does your WhatsApp not have a mute for X hours option?
Turn off all notifications for WhatsApp. Oh, not on Windows.
Because so my WhatsApp is through Opera.
Yeah.
It's just on my
I have the actual app installed.
Okay.
Anyway, what I was going to say is that we discovered that the reason we own part of their driveway is actually there's a bylaw in my town where like if there is a driveway that runs right up against someone's house, legally they have to own a certain amount of it, because it just doesn't make sense to not be able to use
side of your house.
Yeah, like what if I need to waterproof my basement? I shouldn't need to get my neighbor's permission to waterproof my basement from the outside. So, like, it just makes sense to make that my property.
Wait. Did you just tell me I could move into a basement that's not waterproofed?
No, my basement is waterproof. We waterproofed it from...
Okay. Guys, trying to drown me.
No, that was one of my little, like, evil plans when I'm thinking of ways to get back at them for not wanting our garbage there. Be like, oh, let's just waterproof our basement. They'll have to tear up part of the driveway for, like, a month. They won't like that. He actually repeatedly in the video we have him repeatedly saying, well, build a fence then. So we're getting quotes to get the fence built, and if we build a fence there, they just will not be able to use their driveway because it's not wide enough to accommodate a car with a fence on the property line. So
that's what he wants.
I hope I don't have to waste money building a fence down my property line. I hope he sees reason, but if I gotta do it, I gotta do it. Like, he told me to. I have him on video telling me to.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, so they say the blazing hypocrisy of this guy is that the pro-choice position that he calls radical has majority of support from Ohio voters, and he knows it, or else he wouldn't be trying to raise the bar for passage. If anyone is radical, it's the faction that wants to impose a minority's extreme views on the rest of the populace.
Isn't that the exact argument that the Republican Party uses all the time when we try to put in legislation for trans people, gay people, black people?
Yep. We shouldn't be controlled by the minorities. We shouldn't have to bend to the minority's will. Unless it's abortion.
I'm just imagining that episode of South Park.
So Lord of Uzkalak says, I kind of want to see you go to the council to check the survey plans and find out if you actually own all of his drive. No, so here's the beautiful thing about it is because of the spray paint incident where he thought he owned part of my backyard and was talking about demolishing part of my garage. The reason he did that is because he paid for a survey, and the survey company that did it, they only like did part of the job and they never finished. And so he thought that they had marked the property line, but they had actually marked a spot to start measuring where the property line would be from. So he was going from the measurement point instead of the property line point. And so the reason we know where the property line is because they paid for a survey. And we actually have him on video now being like, we put the garbage up against the side of our house. Be like, is this our property? And he didn't like say yes, but he didn't say no. And like so at first, like the garbage can was like kind of off to the side a little bit. Is this our property? No, it's not. Okay, how about now? Is this our property? It doesn't matter. Like, yes, it does.
The minority thing.
Okay, back to the actual topic.
It just reminds me of the episode of South Park where Cartman's slowly realizing that Colorado is becoming less white, and he's just like, "Wait, are you telling me that I'm becoming a minority? That can't be true."
Yeah, I don't know. He's a piece of shit. My neighbor's a piece of shit. They're all pieces of shit. Okay, on to some tweets. I think this was the end of the art. Yeah, okay, so
close enough.
Well, okay, no, I want to get this last quote in. In all these cases, religious right legislators have flaunted their contempt for democracy. They view voters as an obstacle to be overcome by any means necessary. I like that quote. Yeah. The religious right views voters as an obstacle to be overcome. If you view voters as an obstacle,
you're not probably doing it wrong.
Well, then you probably shouldn't be operating in a democracy, and I guess they're trying to get there, so